because I'm also going to be releasing this on YouTube, I'm going to go ahead and get started at 7 o'clock. Welcome back to week 6. Now, in previous weeks, we have discussed credit repair, what to do, how to dispute, what to dispute. So I want to find out and check the pulse of everyone. Have you guys done that? Sent those disputes out? Do you have any questions? Are you still in the process of sending those disputes out? Any questions? Questions? No. Okay. All right.
All good here.
Okay, thank you. So today we are going to discuss, it's already week 6, first of all. Can you believe that? It's going so fast. We're going to talk about preparing for home ownership without sacrificing your lifestyle. A lot of people think preparing for a house, like that's all I'm gonna be able to do. In some cases, you do have to kind of pause on a lot of the extra spending, but you don't have to live like, you're unhoused. So today we're going to talk about that. Now, just to recap, last week we talked about how to build credit while disputes are active. So what are the things that you should be doing while you are disputing your credit, how to build those scores. And I'll get more questions. I see we just had Miss Shellery pop on, but I'll get to questions later. If at any point in time you guys have a question, feel free to hop down in the chat, or you can just take yourself off of mute and go from there, because I have these slides that'll kind of keep my thoughts together, so you can interrupt me. But today we are discussing most people's big fear. So I'm not going to say for whatever reason, because I understand it. Buying a home is such a huge purchase that sometimes your fears just kind of take over you. And it could be the fear of everything, right? Like not just, one thing. It could be the fear of, oh my God, I'm doing something I've never done before. So the unknown, right? That's typically the biggest part. But when you sign your contract, the first night you go home and you're trying to sleep, like I've heard from so many people, and I remember it for myself as well, that you're just tossing and turning like, oh God, I just signed this contract. I'm getting ready to buy a house. So we're going to talk about how to stay in front of those fears. So there are 4 big fears, right? You think, I'm buying a home, I'm never going to be able to travel again. I'm never going to be able to shop, or I'm going to have to curtail my shopping. I will tell you, you will be able to shop, but you are going to have to police that thing. You could think, oh, there go my date nights. And that's fine, but you got a whole house. You can date night in every room in your house, inside and out, okay? I won't be able to invest. And I'm not even just talking about investing in real estate. I'm talking about investing in yourself. So if you are, someone who likes to go to the gym, you have those gym fees, that's an investment. If you're someone who likes to, get a stick here and there, that's an investment. If you're someone who likes to, go and get your massages, those are investments as well. But you can still do those things. We just kind of have to know our numbers and put together a plan. And then the 5th one, people think, if I am purchasing a home, my biggest fear is I don't have the freedom to do what I would normally do with my paycheck. And yes, while that is true, you do still have freedom to do certain things. You don't have to be married to your job just to be able to afford your mortgage. We're going to talk about all those things, and we're going to talk about what's real and what is just fear. So what does sacrificing your lifestyle truly mean? Are we overspending? Are we unclear about our numbers? Are we afraid of commitment? And are we watching social media instead of watching our budget? What I mean by that is, if you're watching social media and your homegirl, me and my homegirl, are out and they're having, drinks, they're at brunch, and you're saying, damn, I want to be able to go, but I know my numbers and I know I need to save money. So you shouldn't be, I'm not going to tell you what you shouldn't be doing. Let me start there. But retrain your mind to think, I'm not out with my homegirls having brunch right now. but I'm home saving for a house that I am going to buy, and I can invite my friends over for brunch once I close. So you got to change how you think, shift your mindset. And so home ownership isn't the problem. Poor planning is. And we're going to talk about that and get into that. Now, the house poor trap. Oh, Lord, you do not want to get into the house poor trap. Being house poor happens when you buy at the very top of your approval. So if you are looking at a house and you know you love this house that is $350,000, but then you get approved and they go, oh, we can approve you for $400,000, and you're like, man, I found a house for $350,000. I loved it, but let me look at some $400,000 homes. So you kind of have to keep those things in mind and buy what you can afford. All right. So again, being house poor means you buy at the very top of your approval. You ignore your real monthly spending. We're going to get into that in a second. You don't plan for maintenance of the home. So if you are buying a new construction home, typically that first year is going to be on the builder. So anything that happens in a home that you didn't cause, the builder will come and fix those things. And then also, being house poor means you don't have any reserves. Like you just bought a house and you don't have any money. You just have a couple $100s in the bank, right? We don't want that. We want you to be a healthy homeowner. Approval amount does not equal the comfortable payment. You want to be comfortable with your payment. Home ownership is not about stretching yourself thin to impress people. It's about positioning yourself to build wealth without disrupting your peace. Financial empowerment means you control the house. The house doesn't control you, baby, okay? All right, so step one, know your real lifestyle costs, okay? So what I mean by that is know what your monthly essentials are. Rent, utilities, insurance, car notes, and that includes gas and all that, groceries, childcare. You're going to calculate that, and that's going to be your monthly expenses. And then also you're going to get another number, which is going to be your lifestyle spending. So eating out, travel, subscriptions to Hulu and Amazon Prime and all of these things, right? Self-care, we talked about that just a little bit. Shopping and tithing or giving, right? You're going to total that. And this is the life you're trying to maintain. So we're going to protect that. Now, that does not mean we're not going to need to go and trim some of those numbers, because maybe you get massages every 2 weeks. Maybe as you're buying this home and you're getting used to this payment, maybe you trim that to once a month. You got to sacrifice sometimes. All right. So you have to, in step 2, define your comfort number, right? What monthly payment allows you to sleep peacefully, still invest, still travel, still enjoy life? This is your number, not your lender's. So don't let your lender tell you, oh, well, I know you said you found a gorgeous house that you love for $350, but we can get you approved for $400 or $450. You have to remember that you are going to be responsible for that monthly payment every month. So you need to make sure you're comfortable with that payment. Now, let's be clear. The average home in the Houston suburbs is going to hit you for about $300,000. We are still able to find some $200,000 homes there, not typically new, but we can still kind of hit those numbers. But if you come to me and you tell me I want a monthly payment of $800, that's not realistic. Like, we're not going to be able to do that. So you have to be realistic, but know what your comfort level is, what your comfort number is. Step 3, we're going to build the buffer plan. So before buying, you should have 3 to 6 months emergency funds, okay? 3 to 6 months. Most people have 3. I'm okay with 3. Because as we're going to get into week after next, we're going to talk about what some of those funds will be used for, right? So you want to at least make sure you have 3 to 6 months emergency fund. If you are purchasing a home and it's going to be a one income home. So if you're purchasing a home by yourself, probably have 4 months. And that is because it is just you, right? So if you're just dependent upon your income from your job. I am going to ask you if how difficult would it be for you to come to the table with at least 4 months of emergency funds saved up, especially if you have children, because anything could happen. Your one income home, you could get sick, your child could get sick. We want to make sure you're okay, right? We also want to make sure you have a moving fund. Moving is expensive, right? You want movers. I want movers. I'm just way too grown to be talking about, come on and I'm gonna buy you a case of beer, help me move. Plus, I don't want anybody breaking my shit. So I want to hire professional movers, and that costs. Also, there are costs associated with sometimes getting your utilities turned on. You may have to take off to get, your cable or satellite people in, your Ring camera set up, all of those things. And if you don't have any personal time, if you taking off means that your check is short, you definitely want to make sure that you have a fund, okay? Because you can't call a mortgage company and say, I'm gonna have to catch you on the next check because I had to sit here while the alarm people came or whatever. You're not gonna be able to do that. You also want to make sure that you have a maintenance fund. Now again, if you're buying new construction, then this is going to be relatively easy because, again, for the most part, your maintenance in the first year is going to be covered by the builder. And then you also want to make sure that you have a fund for furniture and just settling in. Now, for yourself, when you're settling in, that requires a little change, right? A little furniture. You have extra rooms in your house. Ooh, I like this bed, but that was my apartment bed. I want a single family bed that looks like it goes in a house. So there's going to be furniture that you want to buy, even if it's just a dining room table, even if it's just a sofa or, like those things. You are going to want to have a fund for that and not start piling up debt. Preparation reduces stress, and stress is what kills the lifestyle and the vibe that you have saved for, okay? Now, 3 lifestyle protecting strategies. 1, buy below your approval amount. We just talked about that. 2, choose a home that fits your phase of life. So it's all great to be like, you know what? I'm buying this home. I got 1 kid, but in 10 more years, I'm going to have 2 or 3 more kids. I want to get that extra room now for them later. No. You don't want to buy in quarters that are so tight that you are going to outgrow in a year, but you don't want to be trying to buy a mansion if you don't have mansion money right now, okay? So you're going to buy for the phase that fits your current life. And then you want to keep one income flexible if possible. So again, this is if you have a 2-person household, or if you do little side hustles. If you work and then maybe you do DoorDash on the weekend, don't include that money that you make from DoorDash. Just get approved based off of your regular, job. Try to keep some additional income extra, right, to the side. Don't include all of that. Now, if times get tough, one of the things you can always do is get creative. And so you can even consider renting a room out if you're comfortable with that. And if that's something that's needed in the future. I have found that some people are renting out to college students who don't necessarily want to be in an apartment, but don't also want to be in the dorm. So you can think about things like that. There's a lot of stuff that you can do now. Also, don't structure your mortgage so tightly that there's no margin for life. For single income households, it means instead of protecting a second income, you protect your capacity. What that looks like practically is building a stronger emergency fund, okay? Again, if you're one income home, I would recommend 4 to 6 months instead of the 3 to 6 months. So get that extra month in if you can. So lifestyle versus status. Are you buying to impress, or are you buying to build equity, to build your wealth? Question for you to answer, okay? Luxury is peace, not square footage. So You don't have to have the biggest home on the block to make it feel like your home. There are things that you can do nowadays, especially to make rooms feel larger. But again, who are you trying to impress, right? But do know that there is a difference in buying to impress people, buying to build equity, and, those things. So make sure that you're buying for the right reasons. Now, here's a real life example. A buyer is approved for $450,000, but they know already that they're comfortable at $375,000, and they know this because they have asked the lender ahead of time to run my monthly payment on a $375,000 purchase price and run my monthly payment on a $450,000 purchase price. The difference is not just the difference between $450,000 and $375,000. The difference is freedom. Freedom to, again, invest, travel, say no to overtime. You don't have to be married to your job. You want to enjoy your house that you just bought, right? It also gives you the freedom to start a business if that's something that you choose, okay? And again, we'll bring the lenders in on this conversation to say, okay, I know you told me I'm approved at $450,000, but I told you that I saw a really great house that I fell in love with the floor plan is $375,000. Give me the difference in the payment. Some people will say, ooh, that house is $375,000. I really loved it, but $450,000, let's go look at what $450,000 gives me. And if that means that you are sacrificing your freedom, you're going to have to work more overtime. You're not going to be able to go to brunch with your girlfriends. You're not going to be able to travel. You have to think about that and think about if it's worth it. All right, so we're going to talk about the truth about first year home ownership. So first year adjustments. You have new bills now, right? You got a mortgage, which is no different than rent, but payment amount it may be, but I'm saying you still have that housing payment every month, right? But in addition to that, you now have HOA, right? And HOA is an annual bill. Some HOAs will allow you to pay every month. They'll allow you to divvy up the annual amount by 12, and you can pay every month. But you also have to learn how the maintenance on this house is going to work. So during the winter, time, you have to winterize your home. You have to go to Home Depot and get those tools that will keep your home safe during these frigid temperatures, right? Also, during hurricane season, right? You got to make sure you got batteries and flashlights and, candles. And, if we are in the direct path of a hurricane, you got to go get plywood. A lot of things come with maintenance to the home. Typically, once you buy these things one time, you can just keep them and reuse them, pull them out when you're ready to use them. But so there's the new maintenance associated with this new home and new routines. So routines like, hey, it's the summertime, I need to go and water my lawn twice a week, right? Routines like that. I got to go meet the HVAC guy at the home so that he can make sure my, heating and cooling system works optimally all the time. So new routines such as that. But also there's stability, there's equity, there's tax advantages, and there's emotional security. So those are the pros for home ownership. All right, so here's what smart buyers do. Smart buyers plan 6 to 12 months ahead of time. So they don't typically just jump into a home, especially first-time home buyers. You want to make sure you understand the process. The more time you give yourself to understand the process, the better and the more prepared you'll be. You're not going to be 100% prepared. That's never going to happen, right? It's just like saying, I'm prepared to have a baby. You may have, gone and gotten, gone to the IVF clinic and, you may have done all of those things, but still there's going to be some things that you didn't prepare for. But here at Beyond the Home Realty, we're going to get you as prepared as much as possible. I'm telling you, you're going to be hard pressed to find an issue or an item that comes up that we didn't already discuss because we talk it to death. All right. So smart buyers plan 6 to 12 months ahead of time. They track their spending. They speak with a realtor early. They get a lender on board early so they can ask those questions, and they build their credit intentionally and strategically. And as someone who helps people find homes, I would love to guide you home. All right, so here's your homework assignment for the week. You're going to start your lifestyle protection fund. All right. You're going to calculate your lifestyle cost, define your comfort mortgage number. This is not just savings, right? You're still going to have your savings. This is your stability account for your home. This is going to be what keeps your home from controlling you. In closing, you can own a home and be able to travel, be able to build wealth, be able to enjoy your life, be able to sleep peacefully. And ownership should increase your peace, not decrease it, because it is not meant to punish you. It's meant to position you. When you prepare correctly, you don't sacrifice your lifestyle, you elevate it. All right, so we have come to the time where we are looking to see if you guys have any questions. No? Okay. Now, I do want to let you know, let me look in the chat. Okay. I do want to let you know that for being here today, you are going to get this in an email that is going to help you understand your numbers. Okay. So this is your home ownership lifestyle protection plan guide. And in this guide, you're going to be able to input what all your essential numbers are that you're paying right now. And if the number is zero, the number is zero. But you want to make sure you're as truthful as possible with these numbers. And I always just kind of estimate high as opposed to low, so I can get a really good idea of what it is that I'm paying every month. And then you're going to have your lifestyle spending. And this is what you need for you, okay? You need to understand dining out, travel, fun, shopping. Now, sometimes, I'm going to say most of the time, when people write these numbers down and they see, so let me start over. Most of the time, people don't want to write these numbers down because they don't want to be hit in the face with reality of, I'm spending too much damn money, okay? And then once they find the courage to write them down, they're actually able to see their life better, right? When you write it down, it just becomes real, okay? Just really got real once you write it down. So we're going to talk about you and these numbers. You don't have to tell me your numbers, but we're going to start helping you trim down these numbers, because maybe if you're dining out at $600 a month, you can easily cut that to $300. And if you like fine dining, if you like, your steaks and your lamb chops and your shrimp and your crab, if you want to do all that, baby, go ahead. But maybe don't do it so often. Or maybe you do it at home, right? You have friends over. Hey, you bring this, I'm going to bring that. Maybe you make it fun and make saving money fun, so it just doesn't look like you are just keeping yourself from doing things, right? That you're missing out. So these are the numbers that I want you to commit to paper. And then you're going to add up both of the essentials and the lifestyles. You're going to put that there, right? And I understand that people want to buy a home and they want their life to feel the same or better. That's great. You're going to always feel better because you're in a home that you are buying. Okay. That does not mean, though, that nothing in your life ever changes. It just means we have to scale back a little bit in most cases. All right. To be able to, be a healthy homeowner. So you're going to get that in an email on Sunday. That will help you better determine what your numbers are. Because again, a lot of people go into this and don't know their numbers. And I don't want the first time for you to realize what your numbers are is when you're completing a mortgage application. Again, we want you prepared so that you can be a healthy homeowner. All right. Any questions? Okay. Have you guys had a chance to get some of those disputes out in the mail? Let's see, what does it say? You have not had a chance to get your disputes out in the mail. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to send a nice little text. Do you need a little push? Do you guys need a push? I don't know what you need the templates. You did not get the templates? Okay. So what you should have gotten was, okay, you have to check back. Okay. What you should have gotten was this right here. That has, you did not get these? Okay. I don't see an answer, but I'll send this out again in an email. I'll send this out like maybe a Word template with that. Okay. I can do that. I can do that. Let me write that down. And then I'll put this dispute tracker in Word as well, so that you'll be able to track your disputes. Because we got to make sure we get those disputes out. If there's any way that we can get our credit scores up, sure, no problem. I'll definitely do that. So next week, we are going to move into week 7. Again, it's crazy that this is going so fast. And we're going to talk a little bit about budgeting. So that is why it is important, right? It's imperative even for you to have your numbers. If everyone had Outlook, just another second round. Okay. A reminder to send out the second round. Okay. Okay. I'll also build that into the presentation next week. I'll make a slide specifically for that to remind, a reminder to send out the second round. Perfect. That's good. Thank you so much. But knowing these numbers next week, next week I don't need to know them, but next week I'm going to show you how to get some of them down, right? And so that's what we're going to work on. We're going to talk about budgeting next week, and we're going to talk about the different loan types. And I'm going to explain the different loan types: VA, FHA, conventional, USDA. We're going to talk about that so you get a little bit more understanding. Again, this is not meant, it's 52 weeks because I don't want to just throw everything at you and then just, have people's anxiety, all the way up. I want to spoon feed you so it makes sense. These things are going to go together to make a puzzle. So if any point in time you get lost, please let me know. And we can, or if you need me to connect the dots, let me know. And I will definitely do that. Also, we have 5 of our videos from this webinar. We have 5 of those videos on YouTube already. So you'll see them here. If you go to Houston Suburbs, you'll see the videos here, so you can check those out. If you have any questions or if you've missed a class, you can check out the replays here. And again, take notes, send me emails, send me texts if I'm saying something in one of these videos or in the actual live webinar and it doesn't make sense, or you just need me to explain it in a different way. I don't mind. We all learn differently, and sometimes I'll say stuff and I think I said it the right way, but maybe I didn't, or I'll think I've broken it down in the most basic terms, and sometimes maybe I didn't. I may say something like your DTI, and someone may be like, girl, what's DTI? And I'm like, oops, sorry, debt to income, right? I may talk about most master plan communities have PIDs now. You'd be like, what? Public Improvement District. So sometimes you have to kind of reel me back in and keep me straight. And I know y'all will, because y'all do, and I do appreciate that. But yeah, next week we're talking about budgeting. We're talking about the different types of loans. We're going to explain that. Yeah. And so if there is something that you guys definitely want to see in this 52 weeks, please don't hesitate to let me know. I can build it in if it's not already part of the series. I can go ahead and just kind of give you guys a little bit. We're talking about home ownership, loan types, protecting your money and your pre-approval. So we're going to talk about gift funds, tax refunds. We're also going to talk about searching for homes. We're going to be talking about in this series new construction versus resale, touring homes like a pro, the do's and the don'ts. We're going to be talking about the red flags that buyers miss, red flags such as drainage, neighborhood trends, and just resale risks, things like that. We'll talk about navigating offers, negotiating, how to write an offer, inspections, closing day. We're going to talk about crafting a competitive offer, winning in multiple offers. We don't have to worry about that right now, but we don't know what's going to go down later, because I know I hear they're talking about reducing the interest rate again. We're going to talk about coming up earnest money, option fees, contingencies, negotiation strategies that protect your money and your contract. We're going to be talking about due diligence, the home inspection process, what inspectors look for, understanding the inspection reports, appraisals. We're going to explain that. Repairs, credits, renegotiations, what happens between contract and closing, those timelines and those milestones. We'll talk about final walkthroughs, closing day, avoiding closing delays, moving in like a pro, understanding the seller side, because we are not just talking about buyers. We're going to weave some sellers in here as well, because we have buyers and sellers. So we typically start talking about selling and market strategy in Q3. So we're going to be talking about, is it the right time to sell? When is the right time to sell? Pricing your home correctly, preparing your home for market, what sellers can expect, how homes are marketed, photography, video, online presence, showings, feedback. We're going to talk about all those things, and it is important for you to try to attend as many of these weeks as possible. I definitely understand if you feel like, one of these weeks won't apply to you, but I can guarantee you, almost promise you, that in every week, you're going to be able to get something out of what we're talking about. And even when we move into Q3 with the sellers as a buyer, especially if you are thinking about, okay, I think I want to do a resale. Well, I'm going to be telling you the seller, like mindset, right? The psychology of a sale. I'm going to tell you all of these things, and I want you to make sure that you understand it on both sides, whether you're a buyer or a seller. You want to know how the other side thinks. And this class, this webinar series is aimed to do just that. So, I'm checking chat again. All right. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Did you guys learn something, a little bit, something different that you didn't know before? Of course. Awesome. All right. Thank you. I was nervous for a minute. All right. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. You can always visit my website and choose a consultation with me. You can always get me there. Of course, you can always just call, text, or email me and let me know if you have any questions. If anything happens, you win the lottery, or you just say, I'm ready. You wake up one day, you say, I'm ready to jump in, whether you're a buyer or a seller. Let me know. This is not meant to rush you. I don't want to pressure you at all. We want to prepare you. But baby, you don't need the full 52 weeks, and that's fine. I am always ready and willing to enable you to find your way home. Till next week, guys. Bye-bye. Good night. Good night.
We've made it extremely easy for you to check out past webinars in our home ownership series. So check out the playlist here, but we'd also love to see you live on our Wednesday webinars starting at 7 p.m.
I'ma just lay back and crack this window.